At some point in your life, you have probably kissed someone. And when it happened, you probably did not think about it that much. Maybe it was romantic, maybe it was awkward, maybe it was one of those moments where both people turn their heads the same way and suddenly nobody knows how faces work. But what you did is one of the strangest things a human being can do. It is older than writing, older than cities, older than farming, and it may actually predate human beings entirely, because our relationship with kissing does not start with romance, poetry, weddings, or movies where two people kiss in the rain for no practical reason. It may start millions of years ago, before our species existed, with primates using their mouths to feed, bond, calm each other down, and test the world around them. The weird thing is that kissing looks like a terrible idea. Your mouth is full of bacteria, the other person's mouth is also full of bacteria. So a kiss is basically two tiny ecosystems having a very moist diplomatic meeting. And sometimes that meeting goes badly. Kissing can spread viruses, including HSV-1, the virus that causes cold sores. It can spread respiratory infections. It can spread all kinds of microscopic problems that nobody is thinking about during a first date. So the real question is not just when humans started kissing. The real question is, why did we keep doing it? In 2023, two researchers published a paper looking at the ancient history of kissing. For a long time, many people believed the earliest clear evidence came from South Asia around 3,500 years ago. But the researchers pointed to something older, ancient Mesopotamia. Around 4,500 years ago, people living between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers were writing on clay tablets. They were building cities, making laws, trading goods, worshiping gods, and apparently also leaving behind evidence that kissing was already part of daily life. The tablets mention kissing in romantic relationships, family relationships, and social relationships. So by around 2500 BCE, kissing was not some strange new invention. It was normal enough to be written down. But that is the important part. Written down does not mean invented. Humans were doing things long before they started recording them. Nobody discovered fire and immediately wrote a helpful article called 10 Ways to Improve Your Cave Dinner. So the first written kiss is probably not the first kiss. It is just the first kiss that survived as paperwork. And this is where the story gets much older. When scientists look at kissing, they do not only look at humans, they also look at our closest relatives. Chimpanzees sometimes use mouth-to-mouth contact after conflict, almost like a social repair tool. Bonobos use mouth contact in affectionate and sexual contexts. These are not exactly the same as a human romantic kiss, but they are close enough to make researchers ask a very interesting question. What if kissing did not begin with humans? Recent evolutionary research has suggested that kissing-like behavior may go back to the common ancestor of great apes, possibly more than 16 million years ago. That means kissing may be older than Homo sapiens, older than Neanderthals, older than stone tools, and older than the first human who looked at a rock and thought, this could be sharper. If that is true, humans did not invent kissing from nothing. We inherited the raw behavior and then gave it meaning. A bonobo does not think, this mouth contact symbolizes our emotional journey. But humans do. Because humans are very good at taking biology and turning it into culture. We turned eating into cuisine. We turned walking into pilgrimages. We turned mouth-touching into love songs. But why would this behavior exist in the first place? One theory is that kissing began with feeding. Before blenders, baby food jars, and parents making airplane noises with spoons, ancient parents had a problem. Babies need soft food. Ancient food was not always soft. So, in many societies, adults chewed food first, then passed it to babies, mouth to mouth. This is called premastication. which is a scientific way of saying, I chewed it for you. Over time, mouth-to-mouth contact may have become linked with care, comfort, and closeness. A behavior that started as feeding could become affection. Evolution does this all the time. It takes one behavior and reuses it for something else. Feeding becomes bonding, grooming becomes friendship, a survival instinct becomes a dating ritual. Another theory is that kissing helps humans gather information. When two people kiss, they are close enough to smell each other, taste each other, and unconsciously detect chemical signals. Your conscious brain thinks, this is romantic. Your ancient brain thinks, running compatibility scan. Is this person healthy? Do they smell right? Do I feel safe around them? Why did they eat garlic before this? This might explain why a bad kiss can destroy attraction instantly. Someone can look perfect, say all the right things, and then one bad kiss makes your brain quietly close the entire application. But kissing is not only about choosing a partner. It also builds bonds. Kissing can release chemicals linked to pleasure, attachment, and stress reduction. It can calm people down, increase trust, and signal closeness. And for ancient humans, closeness was not just romantic, it was survival. Being alone in the ancient world was dangerous. A bonded pair, a family, or a tribe that trusted each other meant more food, more protection, and a better chance that children survived. So even something as soft and strange as a kiss may have had real survival value. Then there is the Neanderthal question. Did Neanderthals kiss? We cannot know for sure. No Neanderthal left behind a diary saying, "Today someone kissed me behind the mammoth bones." But we do know that humans and Neanderthals met, they interacted, they had children together. Many people alive today still carry small amounts of Neanderthal DNA. So if Neanderthals and Homo sapiens were close enough to have children, they were probably close enough for some kind of intimate contact. Some researchers also think Neanderthals may have had kissing-like behaviors if those behaviors are deeply rooted in the great ape family tree. And there is another clue. Microbes. Scientists have found evidence that ancient humans and Neanderthals may have shared mouth microbes. That does not prove kissing by itself. People can share microbes through food, close contact, or living together. But it fits the bigger picture. Our ancestors were not isolated museum statues. They touched, they bonded, they fought, they cared for children, they got sick, they made emotional, messy, very human choices, or almost human choices. But kissing also has a dark side. If it spreads affection, it can also spread disease. Ancient Mesopotamian medical texts describe illnesses around the mouth that some researchers think may resemble herpes symptoms. We have to be careful with that, because a clay tablet is not a PCR test. But the idea makes sense. As human societies grew larger, people lived closer together. Cities formed, trade expanded, social networks grew. And whenever humans create bigger networks, microbes get new highways. Kissing may have helped certain pathogens move through ancient populations, especially diseases transmitted through saliva or close contact. So kissing is both beautiful and dangerous. It can bond people together. It can also give germs a shortcut. That is the evolutionary trade-off. A behavior does not need to be perfectly safe to survive. It only needs to be useful enough. Cooking can burn you, but it gives nutrition. Social life can cause conflict, but it gives protection. Kissing can spread germs, but it may help build bonds, choose partners, and keep relationships strong. So here is the full picture. More than 16 million years ago, the ancestors of great apes may have already had kissing-like behaviors. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, ancient humans and Neanderthals may have shared close contact, and maybe even mouth microbes. 4,500 years ago, Mesopotamians were writing about kissing on clay tablets. And today, people still kiss without thinking about any of this. The faces changed, the culture changed, the meaning changed, the awkwardness stayed exactly the same, but the impulse may be ancient. So the next time someone says kissing is timeless, they might be more right than they realize. Because the first kiss was not